This episode of the WP Minute is brought to you by OmniSend. Do you sell stuff online? Then you need to meet OmniSend, the powerful yet refreshingly intuitive email and SMS tool that helps you make $73 for every dollar spent. OmniSend is that good and effective. You probably know the struggles of investing in digital ads with no guarantee it'll bring money back into your pocket. Use OmniSend and you won't have to find creative ways to make your audience notice you. You just talk straight to them. Use OmniSend pop-ups to build a contact list, then send campaigns directly to people who already want to hear from you. Automate everything with OmniSend. Just set it up once, sit back, and watch those sales roll in. If this sounds too good to be true, check it out at omnisend.com. Visit omnisend.com. Tell them thanks for sponsoring the WP Minute. Raquel, welcome to the WP Minute.
Thank you. Good to be back.
We'll see if it's a thank you by the end of this, is basically what you're saying. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Busy week. I'm just getting back. A busy week and a half for me anyway. Just getting back from, or a non-busy week. I don't know. What happens when you get pneumonia and you can't move, and then today's the first day after a week and a half you can actually do something? Busy or not, I don't know. But I just laid on my couch dying. But I'm back. You've had a busy week. PressConf has been announced. We're going to talk about that today, of course. But you've been hanging out in the WP Minute Slack for quite some time. You're a wrangler there. That's what we label you, wrangling all things people, community, content, etc. But what else? What else have you been up to these days besides WP Minute and now besides PressConf?
I'm still a community manager at Elegant Themes, but the big news is that I launched my own business just this last August. And that's kind of a sweet little story. There's been a lot of life happening for me the last 6 years. And decidedly, my kids came first. And I've sat on this idea for quite a while. And it was around, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, people started to ask, like, are you just making excuses? Because I'd been telling so many people that I want to start my own biz again. But I legit have this crazy confidence that, maybe I am making an excuse, but no matter what, it's a choice I'm making, and my choice is my kids come first. And when my baby graduates, I'm then going to focus on me. And when my baby graduated, which was last May, I kind of took the summer to regroup, and then come August, I hit the ground running and launched my biz. And my business is events and group travel. And it's, I put myself through a little branding process, which is a whole other story. It came up with the name Wonderland Curious, and there's a lot of why and reason behind that. But my very first sort of project, or not sort of, but legit project, was to resurrect a new name, our beloved old Pressnomics, and to resurrect this new iteration of it called PressConf. And that's where I've been the last few months, is really working on that.
I've been calling it a revival to some folks who have been messaging me today. But before we get to that, but you said you regrouped. I've been watching your Instagram. You've been traveling all over the world. That is not a regroup to me. A regroup to me is sit home and not try to work. You traveled everywhere as your regroup. What did you get out of it?
Well, Matt, you and I are friends, and so you should know how I am. I truly am an extrovert, and I say that like a curse. Like I almost, there's days I don't like it. I legit feel like, why am I this way? But I sort of need it. Like, I need it to process. I need it to therapize me. Side note, I am in therapy, but and a lot of this travel was booked before life happened. And when my daughter graduated, I felt burnout for the first time in my life. And I think I was just so go, that when that sort of ended, I felt like a giant boulder that I'd been carrying for the last 20 years. I had sat down and I felt the weight of what I had just done. And so while I was sort of going through burnout and trying to take a chill pill, I had already these travel plans organized. And so I just had to do it. And some of it felt like, yeah, this is a lot and I don't know how I can do this. But so much of it felt like it's exactly what I needed. There's just so much thought that comes with it. And I don't travel like a tourist. I travel like a local. So when I do travel, I'm chill.
Yeah, you have one JanSport backpack, and I'm like, how does she do it? I need a whole three roll-on suitcases to do across, the country.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, I get it. I look like I've been doing a lot. And I mean, I have been doing a lot. Just the way I work, my personality, my psyche, everything about me, it's what I need. And granted, when I'm home, I've been home. I've been chilling on the couch. I've been watching TV. I never watch TV. This is like all new for me. TV, do we call it TV anymore?
Yeah, I know.
I think you and I are like the exact same age, but like I've been watching shows on the couch. It's been lovely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I have been having some downtime for the first time.
So you take that boulder, you place it down, and then you pick up another boulder, strap it right back on your back, called PressConf. Pressnomics is one of those things that is a real legacy in the WordPress business space. I want to break down a whole bunch of things here, but let's just talk about carrying or reviving Pressnomics, now PressConf. Talk about that weight for a second. Imposter syndrome. Can I do this? Should I do this? What went through your head, and why specifically revive Pressnomics?
100% yes, all of that. It got to the point where I had to, there was no choice. And it probably started a year and a half ago when the idea, the seed of reviving Pressnomics came into my head, and it really became out of a need from the community. Just, post-pandemic, there was steps, there was WordCamps took a while to come back in person. Once they did, there was kind of some like stumbling to get to, a good in-person event. And by the time I would say WordCamp Europe 2023 in Athens, I started to hear the community say, like, we really need a Business of WordPress conference again. And I've long been friends with Josh and Sally. And so my kind of thoughts were, let's push them a little bit to like bring it back. But we all know GoDaddy now owns that trademark. So,
and let's face it, we don't need Strebel back. We don't need Strebel back in the mix, right? Just let him troll on Twitter, and he's doing good.
It's funny. I get it. I still call him Josh too, and everyone says Strebel, but yes, I get it. But yeah, so I then just a series of just events, WordCamp US in DC, just really hearing it, kind of like having this idea, talking with even Corey Miller about maybe doing something. And then really kind of the catalyst was just this past spring, late winter in Taipei for WordCamp Asia. A few things happened. I remember hearing Robert Windish say CloudFest was the new Pressnomics, and I was like, fuck that. That's not, no. And then I went on this like mastermind community call for WordPress, and bunch of big names in community when it comes to WordPress. And again, they were sharing the sentiment that we really need a Business of WordPress WordCamp. And I got off that phone. I'm like, nope, I'm bringing this back. And I reached out to Josh and Sally. I was like, guys, what do we need to do? I'm like, let's do this together. If you don't want to, can I have your blessing? And I know I don't necessarily need that. There's been people who have like said, like, why do you need that? And I'm like, for me, I'm a good faith person. This was very much Sally's baby, and I want to respect that so much. And so for me, it was like I had been a part of every single Pressnomics iteration in the past. I helped in the past, and this is what we want to revive. And I don't want to do it without being above, I don't want to say above board, but just above good faith. Like, I want to make sure that I'm going to like honor what was started. And so, yeah, I got the blessing. And
it's about, it's like being a good citizen in the space, respecting your colleagues. I like to say I worked for Sally Strebel, not Josh, when I worked at Pagely. But I will tell you that she did pour her heart and soul into the conference. I mean, everyone did. We didn't have to work it, or when I was there, I didn't have to work it. But the previous ones, I know a lot of the team did. Everyone put a lot of effort into that, and it's great to see, and this is why, I'm not answering for you, but this is why it
Sure.
makes sense to pick something like this, because Pressnomics was always the event you went to in the WordPress space. Yeah, you always went to WordCamps. We all went to WordCamps. When I say back, back then with air quotes, but Pressnomics was like, you just don't want to miss it, and hyper focused on the business side of WordPress, which today, even pandemic aside, which I know is a big variable, but we're headed into 2025, and there's still no de facto, like, that's the marquee business event for WordPress. And the fact that business isn't really something that is again, another marquee sort of track at regular WordCamps is baffling to me. And we're not going to talk about like all the stuff happening in WordPress these days in terms of the automatic versus WP engine. But my God, how are they going to continue WordCamps without revitalizing, the approach? And there's a lot of bridges that have been burned up until this day with everything that's been happening. So, good on you for picking Pressnomics to revive now PressConf, and then of course talking to Josh and Sally to get their blessing is absolutely what you want to do. Before we get too far, it's pressconf.events is the website. You can go and at least sign up to stay notified, but you can get your early bird tickets by clicking on Get Tickets. We're going to get to that in a moment. When you started to look at revitalizing this, the other mainstay, and listen, I'm not a guy, we just talked about this, I'm not a guy who likes to travel, and I certainly don't like going west for long stretches of time in an airplane. But Mission Palms Resort is also like one of those places that just makes sense for this event. I was talking to somebody else before we hit record. They're like, hey, should I go? What do you think? Are you going to go? And I'm just like, look, and like, what makes this good is somebody who's never been before, or even knows about Pressnomics. And I was like, two things. The core focus on business is amazing at Pressnomics, and I'm sure it will be at PressConf. And second, the venue's perfect because it's small enough, big enough to relax a little bit, but also to be around everyone at the same time. So that's a lot of me talking there, but you picked it, and replicating it at the same space, I think, makes total sense as well.
Yeah, that was the idea. The idea was this first iteration, and not saying that the following iterations won't follow, but this first iteration was going to look and feel exactly like what we remember. Like, the idea is that this is the revival, this is the reiteration of it. And Tempe Mission Palms is wonderful, love it so much. And it exactly like you just said, you don't have to leave, and even when you do leave for lunch, you just walk onto the strip right there, Mill Ave, and every single option of eating is there. So everything is just communal at this place. And it's happens to be also, and I live in Phoenix, so, and that's just pure coincidence. Actually, Josh and Sally, we used to live in the same suburb of Phoenix. That's when we very first met each other. And now all of that is coincidence, and I guess convenience, but really mostly coincidence, because even if I didn't live here in the Valley, I would have chosen the same exact spot because it just works out. And it's a pretty easy flight, to get to. I get it. You come from Boston, you come from like the furthest to northeast point of the US, but still, it's not too difficult to get to.
No, it's not. Phoenix is where you would fly into, and then it's like what? Like, I don't remember, like 20 minutes to drive to?
Oh, barely. 10 minutes. Yeah. In fact, you could even like take the light rail straight to it. You don't even have to drive. It's very accessible.
Yeah. So you have the idea, you're energized to revitalize this. You've got the name PressConf. You talk to Josh and Sally, sort of get their blessing or let them know that you're working on it. What came next for you? I mean, granted, you've done a ton of events in the past, but like, what was your playbook to say, okay, I got it, got the name, ready to rock and roll. What did you do next?
Yeah, I started reaching out to my favorite people to build the team, to really fill the gaps. I'm not new to running events, but almost exclusively I've ran WordCamps, and they work a little bit different. And one thing almost my entire time organizing for WordCamp Phoenix, including the times I organized for WordCamp US. Just the team was just immaculate, and especially WordCamp Phoenix. I mean, these are like friends. These are like people that we do life together. We don't just do WordPress together, and that meant a lot to me, so I wanted to recreate that. Like, there's a lot I can do on my own, but there's a lot that I can't, and I'm not too proud to beg. And so those first steps were reaching out to a short list of the people I love and respect, and to just build the team, a little team, lean. I remember learning that even with Sally. I think the first time I helped her was in 2013, and just the way we, run lean. And that was very big for me. It doesn't take much, especially when people are good at what they do, And one of the biggest things that I was super happy about was compensation, is being able to compensate organizers, and that we're not just volunteering, we're actually getting our value met of the value spent, met. So yeah.
If you're watching this, if you're just listening to this, make sure you check out the YouTube video. But if you're watching this, I have the team page up. It's, of course, you, Brian Richards. Somehow this guy, Matt Madera, showed up. Carol Stambaugh, Dave Ryan, Nathan Atkinson, and the Nathan B. Weller on the team. I've been to just a handful of meetings so far. Granted, I've been super busy and bogged down with life and getting sick and kids, et cetera.
Yeah.
But what's the infrastructure like behind the scenes? Somebody saying, hey, look, I want to build out a team. What did you spin up? Like on the geeky technical stuff, Slack team, like what did you use for software to start wrangling and organizing all of these ideas and people who are contributing to this?
Yeah. Well, one thing about me is I just do it. People want to hate on Myers-Briggs, whatevs. But when it comes to Myers-Briggs, I'm an ENFP. And one of my favorite parts
I don't even know what that means, Raquel. So you're far, far more ahead than I am.
Just a personality quiz, kind of like, Enneagram, all that shit. Anyway, what was it? Yeah, I'm an ENFP, I'm a campaigner, but the P at the end it stands for prospector. And this idea that you just do it. You don't think, you just do it. And so that is very much Raquel. Like, I just do it. I'm like, we're going to figure this out as we go, but we're just going to do it. But, me and my teams in the past, we have our systems. It's like, you already know. Once you already know how to do it, the tool you use isn't the biggest of deals, So yeah, Slack, it's just a small team. Even if we decide to pay, I haven't paid yet, but it wouldn't be much because there's just a few of us. But we got Slack. I'm still a Slack girl.
Notion, right? I think we're using Notion for some of this stuff.
Notion, yeah. My girl Carol is an absolute beast when it comes to tools, and she just went to town on Notion and just built out this thing already. The whole thing's built out. I'm like, okay, this is exactly why I have Carol on the team. But yeah, we've got Notion going, and other than the usuals, we're processing cards and things, so we got Stripe and PayPal and all that, but otherwise the main thing is Notion and Slack, and of course Google, little docs here and there. But
yeah, easy enough to wrangle stuff like this, right? That's what you say now, of course.
I mean, the tools kind of really that's not where the problems come in, right? The problems come in with all the work that it takes and the blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, that's my favorite part. I'm not going to lie. That's my favorite part of organizing events.
So we need to get sponsors, right? Or at least in your head, you're like, okay, team's there, name, they've sanctioned it. I've got a team. I've got the tools ready to get this thing going. Now I need to make sure that there's people invested literally in this so that I can run it. Who did you knock on? Which door did you knock on first? And how is that going for sponsors?
Well, TBH, we are really focusing on speakers first. So right now, the way that we're working is invite first. So we are specifically inviting certain key players in the industry, definitely targeting most known names. And one of my favorite parts about Pressnomics and what we're keeping with this new iteration is we're not recording, we're not streaming. These are raw, unfiltered talks that you got to be in the room where it happens. That's been my own personal tagline for this entire event, is be in the room where it happens. Because if you're not in the room where it happens, you're not going to see the talks. They will not be released afterward.
Right.
So that, to me, speakers are huge. And the people who buy the tickets, that's kind of makes the pudding. So sponsors, my biggest thing was just getting the sponsor package like polished. And that took quite a bit of time, more time than I expected, because I'm used to WordCamps and I'm used to a local WordCamp as opposed to a flagship event. And so that did take me some time to be like, bro, taking off the WordCamp hat, and I got to put on the professional WordPress event hat and figure out these packages, but got that. And I've already been having a lot of talks with a lot of big companies. I mean, and this comes with the territory of being someone who does get around the community and has been known for putting on WordPress events. And so I do have a lot of conversations already going with your usual suspects when it comes to WordCamp sponsors, like the big hosting companies and names like that. So we could say that so far, big hosting companies.
I think one of the things about WordCamps is, fantastic that there's a bunch of tracks, and especially if you're a developer, maybe slightly on the marketing side, there's some content for you that's out there. But when you go to a WordCamp, you're really either when you go to a track, I should say, at a WordCamp, you're probably like super beginner and you really want to learn something, or you're more developer minded, and somebody's showing off some kind of practice that you're like, hey, I want to check this out. One of the sort of namestays of this conference is the tracks or the presentations were just one room, and they weren't recorded. So even if you went to a WordCamp, you know, in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, I could go to that talk. And you're like, you know what? It's actually going to be recorded, so I'm going to skip it. And then maybe I'll watch it later. Then you never watch it later. And then you just miss it. The difference here is you want this content, you have to show up in the room. It's because after that, it's like most social media content these days, it just disappears, right? It's like the TikTok or the Snapchat of presentations. If you don't catch it then, it's gone. Too bad. You'll never hear it or see it again. So it does actually kind of make you, very simplistically, make you say, okay, I'm going to be in the room for this talk, and I'm going to skip the hallway track. But then, vice versa on these other conversations. If there's something there I don't really care for, then I'll do the hallway track. So I think it's super important that you kept that same momentum. Anything else that you're maybe sprinkling in that's slightly different than what we've been used to in the past in terms of that setup?
To your point, there is no hallway track at PressConf. This event is for the hallway trackers. That's who this is for. So you're going to want to go to the sessions. You're not going to want to miss them. And there is only one track, so you got to be in the room where it happens. But to your point, one thing different that we're going to add to this is we're figuring this out. We don't have it exactly planned out yet, but structured time to mingle with others, but just basically structured. So there will be time aside from lunch, which has always been choose your own adventure. There will be time in the afternoons, maybe even in the mornings, where we have structured play dates. I know you would understand that.
Yeah.
But this is the beginning stages, but my idea and the desire was that because there's no hallway track at a PressConf, because this is for hallway trackers, we still want to allow for time aside from the mornings, aside from the evenings when you're staying up, having these brain trust sessions, until 1 a.m. And aside from lunch, we want structured time somewhere throughout the day where you're given the opportunity to maybe do what you're used to doing. Because I know at a WordCamp, so many people are used to being I run to this Ramada and we're scheduling meetings all day long. Nope. You will not be scheduling meetings at this
I've
event.
never been to a Ramada, Raquel. I don't care what the paper trail says. PressConf.events. It's April 23rd through the 26th, 23, 24, 25, 26, 4 days. If I count on my fingers. Is it going to be 3 days of speaking, 2 days of speaking, all four? What's the setup?
No, the first day is just the welcome party in the afternoon. And then Thursday, Friday are speaking days. the Saturday is the fun day. If you guys remember at Pressnomics and the Best, there was always a day for golf for the mats of WordPress. That is a loaded statement right there. But and then a not golf option for those of us who do not golf, which that would be me. So Matt, I'm actually going to be consulting with you even more on that because nobody on the team golfs except for you. So,
well, I've got some opinions.
I need them.
Yeah. So looking at the website, PressConf.events, at the tickets page, you can get a VIP all access pass. Right now, early bird access is $680, or you can get general admission for $580. That'll get you access to, obviously, the event. Does that get you access to the retreat days? What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, they're basically the same ticket. It's just that the general admission is no retreat day, but essentially the same. It gets you to the welcome party and the after party. And there is the add-on option. So if you're traveling with a significant other, then we do have a +1 option as well that they could come to the parties.
Fantastic. Is the party going to be at the venue, or is it going to be somewhere else? Or is it secret, undisclosed right now? Can't talk about it.
No. The welcome party and after party will be at the venue itself. Very
Nice.
similar to how it used to be the old Pressnomics iterations.
I'm trying to remember the courtyard area. Was it was it 2 levels? I can't.
I think what you're remembering is there was a few times we were at the pool. But both of our parties will be in the courtyard. It's so close to everything. I mean, in the entire hotel, for those of you who remember, and for those of you who don't, it's circles around a courtyard. And so all your rooms, will be all around that courtyard. And to Matt's point earlier, it's just so accessible and so intimate, and such a time to connect with the who's who and the up and coming in WordPress.
All right, Raquel. So what's the biggest lesson so far? I mean, I know you're still early-ish days, but you've been working on it for a while. What's the biggest takeaway so far? What's got you a little stuck, but what's also got you a little proud so far?
Really more so me. I'm honestly been crying on and off the past couple days, and I don't shy for my tears anymore. But this is my first baby, not actual children. I've had 3 and I'm very proud of those. But like in the past, my old business was not my baby. And even now where I work, which proud to work at ET, it's not my baby. And this is my baby. And a lot of the lessons and just applications I've had to learn and still learning is how much all of this is, how much I believe in myself, and how affirmations really sort of do work the past few years. And I've just been like, I'm pushing it off until my babies graduate. And I just kept saying it, even when the naysayers didn't. And then here I come, and I don't even know why. And I'm feeling burnout, and I just do it. And then, and here I am. And it not arrived by any means. And there's so much more that I need to do. And I'm excited to do it. But I'm blown away that I did it. Because it's actually mine.
Yeah. There's there's a certain level of craziness somebody needs to do something like this to this level. And I am thankful it's you, not me, number one. But number two, you're the person to do it. And I think when it comes to getting, I can't even plan a birthday party. So there's that. But to do something like this, where you're bringing people literally from all around the world, it's sort of one of these traditions that we've had in the WordPress community. So you're reviving that, and you're bringing together people on a subject that we're all sort of really hungry for, right? WordPress business. There's a lot of things at play, and I'm proud to have helped just in a tiny way so far. But I also think that you're the woman for the job for this kind of thing, and proud of you, and really rooting for you and the entire team to get this thing off the ground. So PressConf.events, PressConf.events. It'll be linked up wherever you're listening or watching to this. April 23rd through the 26th. You can get early bird tickets now. Sign up. Raquel, anywhere else you want people to go? Are you on Blue Sky? What's happening these days? Where do you want people to go other than PressConf.events?
Yes. Obviously Zitter, Twitter, X, still have a presence. There is an IG because I'm an IG girl anyway. And yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, ever since this past week, I feel like everyone's like, we're moving to blue sky. So I was like, ah, shit, I should go squat on a handle there too. But the usual spots. And obviously, people could reach out to me as well.
The Twitter handle for PressConf is at press_2x_conf. Press_2x_conf. Or, I'll link it up in the show notes. Double underscore. That's how you say that. Jesus, God, I don't even know. Is that what the kids say? I don't know, Raquel. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Again, check out pressconf.events. It's an event you're not going to want to miss, especially if you're in the WordPress business space or want to be around people who are, really hungry for this kind of content. And I think it's going to be an amazing time. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Check out all the links in the show notes, and we'll see you in the next episode.